Hello everyone and welcome to Sunburned Albino plays Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair, episode 33. We're here at Monokuma Rock. We were about to start what was been told is the final trial, but we'll see. You know, that was like the throw little curveballs at you at the end. We gotta see who killed Nagito. I'm real interested in this one. Looks like everyone... Huh? Is this it? Shouldn't there be more people?
Damn it.
Stop it. You're making me depressed.
Stupid fool!
You're making me depressed.
So,
it is going to happen again. The cruel conflict when we must doubt our friends. But once we're through with this, we can go back, right?
That's right!
That Monokuma bastard said so, didn't he? He said this is the last class trial.
Damn it!
But we've been tricked every step of the way. There's no way I can believe that so easily.
Of course not!
Why can't you believe it? The guy who's making us do all this is the one saying it, you know?
You know, right?
That's why I'll definitely survive. If we can really go home after we deal with this class trial.
That's right!
I'll definitely find out who the killer is, no matter what, even if I have to pull out all the stops. What the fuck? Why are you here?
You haven't realized it yet? That feeling of wanting to leave this island? Thinking like that is Monokuma's trap, you know.
huh?
Huh? What are you saying?
Got it?
There's no way Monokuma will end things here. He's planning something far worse!
Ah, stop trying to jinx us!
I'll beat you up!
Damn right, stupid rabbits should just shut up.
Everyone, you mustn't run away from despair. I have finally realized, after losing my powers, I've realized that cursing your powerlessness or your fate accomplishes nothing. The possibility may be small, but as long as there's a possibility, you must face it. In order to become someone who can be proud of yourself.
So I will fight!
Huh?
What's her deal? I do not really know, but she seems different from before. Maybe she read a self-help book.
Wait.
But her eyes look so determined.
Ooh.
What can you tell just by looking at those button eyes?
Ah.
Anyway, make sure you turn off Mini Maru. It'd be annoying if he started talking during the trial. Aw, fine. Somehow, I understand what Monami is saying, I think. Anyway, let's get going to the last class trial.
Yep.
You're right. We need to fight as much as we can, no matter what it says. This is the end. I kept saying those words to myself over and over within my mind. I entered Monokuma Rock.
Yeah.
This elevator ride. This'll be the last time for this too, right? I hope so.
Well?
Let's worry about things after we're finished.
You are right.
More importantly, we must focus on the class trial before us.
Damn it.
The killer managed to kill someone like Nagito. There's no way this is going to go smoothly. I mean, I still can't believe one of us was able to do that. Nagito was problematic in many ways, but he was also a valuable asset during the trials. Yeah, you're right. In fact, during the Funhouse ordeal, we were completely dependent on him. But even if he's gone, the ones who have survived need to stand and fight. We must fight. And then the door slowly opened. This bright light greeting us. Is that the light of hope or the light of despair? Is there a light of despair?
Well now.
Well then, now that chatterbox Nagito is gone, there are only 6 of you left.
Shut the hell up!
Enough! Just fucking start this already!
Hey!
Hey, this is it, right? This is really the last class trial, right?
Yep.
Yep, it sure is. So, you gotta show some enthusiasm and make sure you give it your all.
All right!
Didn't I tell you? He said it! This is the end!
Now then.
Now then, let's get this trial started!
Viva
This is the last class trial! Let's show some enthusiasm and kill each other! This is the 5th class trial. According to Monokuma, this is also the last class trial. That curtain is about to rise. Nagito Komaeda, the ultimate lucky student. When I first met him, I thought he was a nice guy. He came across as very sociable. But his true nature held such a demented thought process that was nothing like his outward appearance. He said he believed in hope more than anything else. He said he was yearning for a powerful hope that can overcome any despair. He said he would even help despair just to prove that hope will never lose to despair. And he said he'd become a stepping stone for hope. His way of thinking was saved us too. And I have no idea at all who did it, but there's no way we can end this without knowing. We will be consumed by despair. That's why we absolutely have to find out who finished off Nagito. The killer who murdered Nagito. In order to return from this despair alive, we need to reach the truth. And if Monokuma says this is really the last trial, that's all the more reason we need to do this. And so, this life-threatening trial billowing with hope and despair, the last one, has begun. Yeah, I'd like to save my current progress. Okay, do we have any more skills? 34 or 51. Attentive influence, envious influence. Yeah, we need that. Silver spoon. Reduces damage to the influence gauge when you miss. Oh, but that's just because we don't... Yeah, okay. The influence gauge recovers over time. I think we need that for sure. Okay, let's do this. Well, first we need to re-go over this stuff. It's been a few days since I played this. I need all the information. I mean, I'm sure it's not really going to help me, but... You know, there will be times when I stumble. Alright, Monokuma number 5. Number 5! The victim is Nagito. The body was discovered inside the warehouse near the Monokuma plushie factory. The estimated time of death is to be noon sharp. Not only is there a spear stabbed in his stomach, there are multiple stab wounds on each of his thighs. Furthermore, there is a laceration on his left arm and a knife impaled in his right hand. So much shit to get through here. Torture wounds. Legs were tied with a rope. Each rope was tied to nearby pillars, which prevented him from moving. His thighs were also covered with a lot of stab wounds. Burned rope. The rope that was tied to Nagito's right arm burned off. However, Nagito's right sleeve still looked clean. What do you think that could be about? Because the room he was in was on fire, right? Was he positioned in such a way where the fire burnt through his rope? Like he was just close enough for that, but it didn't singe his clothes at all? A survival knife that was stabbed into Nagito's right hand. The knife is from the military base, sure. It's safe to assume that the wounds on legs and left arm were caused by this knife. Okay. Blood was splattered on the palm of Nagito's left hand. For some reason, the splatter cuts off in the middle of his palm as if he were holding something. Also, the back of his left hand has an unknown blood finger. To be holding on to something. It may... If it's only about the middle joints of his fingers, the way that you hold a Monokuma plushie might protect the tips of your fingers, the way it digs into the fur. And that plushie had a hole in it as if the spear was through it. Then his arms were tied up. So, was he tied up post-mortem? No, I don't think so, because they've been torturing him for a while. Nagito's mouth was covered with duct tape, however the blood splattered onto his face wasn't under the duct tape. Tape was on his mouth before he started bleeding all the time. It's like you can't get stabbed in the stomach without blood spurting out of your mouth, and the tape had no blood on it. That's what gives me the conclusion that the spear wound wasn't the final blow. It was done post-mortem. That's the only thing that makes sense to me there. Spear of dung near the spear impaled Nagito's stomach, the cord to the iron weight to the end it extends from the back of the handle. For some reason, only the section where the cord and weight touch is bloody. Yeah, there's a huge bloody hole in his stomach as if it was stabbed by the spear. That's what makes me think that maybe Nagito had the plushie, like, on his stomach. But then it doesn't make sense as to how he was holding it. So there's contradictions there. A faint red line was on the ceiling girder inside the goods warehouse. Do you think that line matches up with that piece of the rope that's not bloody? There's a little... Like previously we thought it was because someone was holding it there, but maybe it was wrapped over this girder and the blood came off. Ish. Maybe the spear was set up to be an automated thing. I mean, there was like a pulley system happening. A lot of tipped over Monokuma panels were scattered. The panels seemed to be laying on top of each other in a straight, orderly line. So if you put them back up, they're all in a line just watching Nagito get tortured. But that's kind of weird. They couldn't be there to block the door, because there would have been more scattered around the door. Or I think there were anyway, but there's also that straight line, which makes no sense. Found at the fire's origin point, it looks like this is what caused the fire, the oil lighter. It was set on a timer, is what somebody said, and they put it underneath the curtain. An MP3 player, the music. There was music playing. Not sure what that's about. Sonia's account. Sonia secretly used one of the bombs and found out that the bombs were... What if Monami was the... That'd be pretty strange. Monokuma knew all along that the bombs were fake, however, he apparently never revealed that fact to anyone. Which means if somebody goes and says that the bombs are fake, then maybe that. Monami's notebook, the diary Monami updated every day, but according to Monokuma, Monami can't write. Maybe Monami's trying to get... They're trying to frame Monami right now. Somebody is. These were hidden at Nagito's cottage under his bed, gas mask and gloves. I don't know what those would be for. It seemed like he had just had prepared for like a lot of different ways to cause doom. To try and get the timer so the traitor would reveal himself. Found at Nagito's cottage under his bed, it's a round thin piece of aluminum paper. I don't know what that could be about. The liquid is highly potent and takes effect immediately. Please handle with care that its volatility is low. The liquid is very dangerous when vaporized. In a gaseous state, it's heavier than air, it breaks down in minutes, and is susceptible to hydrolysis, so it is possible for you to poison someone to death without any complications. Are they trying to maybe think, like, that he died from poison, but then they just inflicted everything post-mortem? But then I don't know who that would finger. And then the Hope Speak Academy file. Monokuma forged the traitor's profile, so that won't identify later. And that's it. Okay. Well, we'll see if I can do anything with any of that.
Now then, let's begin with during the class. If you
Yeah,
vote,
you do that, all this stuff. Great. Okay.
Oh my, Monami? My cute little sister? You're awfully quiet. What's happened to you? You've ascended the ladder of adulthood and reached the moon? Because you're a rabbit? Chesto! One more time! Jeez! How about this one? This will be my final blow! It's useless.
Please stop! I feel bad for Monomi.
You're right. Now's not the time for me to horse around with Monami. The class trial has started, after all. The victim this time is Nagito, who is attempting to reveal the traitor for everyone's sake. Who in the world killed him? I'm so curious.
If he was killed for trying to reveal the traitor, that traitor is obviously the killer. They were trying to shut Nagito up.
No, that might not be it.
Huh? Are you trying to protect the traitor? They didn't call out when we were in danger. Wait. Don't tell me you're the traitor.
Don't say something so stupid! There's no way in hell I'm the traitor!
Now that's more like it! Why don't you guys hurry and start arguing already?
The traitor and the killer who murdered Nagito is here, right? Are they the same person? Or... Torture wounds, survival knife, duct tape, Monokuma plushie, Monokuma panels, oil lighter, Monokuma's account. So much stuff! Okay, show me a thing.
The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
So that's why he was so beat up. What were they trying to find out by torturing him? Definitely the bomb's hiding place. If so, the suspect is whoever found the bomb first.
That was Fuyuhiko.
I found it by coincidence. There's no way I'd torture someone.
Why did the killer have to torture Nagito? No. Were the wounds really caused by torture in the first
The killer
place?
didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
So that's why he was so beat up. What were they trying to find out by torturing him? Definitely the bomb's hiding place. If so, the suspect is whoever found the bomb first.
Hell, I don't know. I didn't know.
Damn it! The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
They were torturing him.
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
No. Huh.
The killer didn't tape.
Okay.
I'm telling you, they were.
The reason Nagito's body was covered.
It's because the killer.
So that's why. What were they trying to find out by torturing him? Definitely the bomb's hiding place. If so, the suspect is whoever found the bomb first.
No! You can't start me out with this.
Damn it! The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were.
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
Damn it.
Crap!
I'm so... This is the part where I
The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured.
So that's why. What were they trying to find out by torturing? Definitely the bomb's hiding place. If so, is whoever found the bomb.
That was Fuyuhiko.
I found it by coincidence. There's no way I'd torture someone.
What else
The
would they
killer
be
didn't
caused
tape
by?
Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito. Crap! The killer didn't tape. I'm telling you, they were.
The reason Nagito's
It's because the killer.
So that's why he was so. What were they trying to find out by torture? Definitely the bomb's hiding place.
Nope. Whoever tortured Nagito did not know the bomb was fake. Yeah, obviously, yeah. Ah, then that means I'm not a suspect.
Damn it! The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were
The reason Nagito's body was.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
So that's why he was. What were they trying to? Definitely the bomb's hiding place. If so, the is whoever found the bomb first.
Ah.
Damn it! The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to
Found
shut
by
him up.
coincidence.
I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
The reason Nagito's body was.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
So that's why. What were they trying to? Definitely the bomb's hiding place.
I don't know.
Damn it.
This is the part that's hard to watch.
The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
Okay, we gotta look at this. Why wouldn't they be torturing him? Survival knife. The knife is from the military base. The wounds on the legs and left arm were caused by this knife. The mouth was covered with duct tape, however the blood that splattered onto his face wasn't under the duct tape. Nagito was desperately moving his mouth underneath it. Well, then he couldn't... The duct tape would make it
The reason
seem...
Nagito's body was covered with...
It's because the killer tortured...
Ah, yes!
No, that's wrong.
I was gonna say. Because he had duct tape, so he couldn't have said anything anyway.
But Nagito's mouth was covered with duct tape, so he wouldn't have been able to confess anything. If he was being tortured for information, they wouldn't have taped his mouth like that.
I'm prepared. Ah, I just realized it. It's a trap.
Trap?
Stupid Hajime. You got caught in that trap.
Stupid.
Like you said, if Nagito's mouth was taped shut, you'd obviously assume he couldn't talk. But that was the trap. They wanted to hide the fact that he got interrogated.
But if you tape his mouth shut, how is he supposed to answer anything?
Pay attention, this is how it went down. First, the killer tortured Nagito and got information about the bomb's location.
Damn it.
Crap! Pay attention, this...
So, what are the ones that they're giving me right now? Find the bombs.
This is how it went down. First, the killer tortured Nagito and got information about the... Then, after they killed him...
Damn it!
Like you said, if Nagito's mouth was taped, you'd obviously assume he couldn't talk, right? But that was the trap. They wanted to hide the fact that he got interrogated.
But if you tape his mouth shut, how is he supposed to answer anything?
Alright, just
Pay
show me the
attention,
entirety
this
of
is
what
how
you
it
do.
went down. First, the killer tortured Nagito and got information about the bomb's location. Then, after they killed him...
No, don't! Ah!
Like you said, if Nagito's mouth was taped, you'd obviously assume he couldn't talk. But that was the trap. They wanted to hide the fact that he got interrogated.
Okay, now just
But
don't
if you
say
tape his
anything.
mouth shut, how is he supposed to answer anything?
Pay attention, this is how it went down. First, the killer tortured Nagito and got information about the bomb's location. Then, after they killed him, they duct taped his mouth shut.
Oh my god.
Pay
What do I
attention,
refute
this
then?
is how it went. First, the killer tortured and got information.
I know that
Then,
that last
after they killed
shit.
him,
I didn't know it was the second one. Oh
Damn
my
it.
god!
like you said, if Nagito's mouth was taped shut, you'd obviously assume he couldn't talk, right? But that was the trap.
Now you're doing this? Oh my god, can you please?
Like you said, if Nagito's mouth was taped shut, you'd obviously assume he couldn't, right? But that was the trap. They wanted to hide the fact that he got interrogated.
I can't back down!
Fucking hell, man.
But if you tape his mouth shut,
You gotta get me to duct tape now.
how is he supposed to answer
Because
anything?
duct tape will refute the last thing.
Pay attention, this is how it went down. First, the
Okay.
killer tortured Nagito and got information about the bomb's location. Then, after they killed him, they duct taped his mouth shut.
What?
Crap! Pay attention, this is how it went down. First, the killer tortured Nagito and got information about the bomb's location. Then, after they killed him, they duct taped his mouth shut. Crap! Pay attention, this is how it went down.
It's gotta be duct tape on the middle one.
First, the killer tortured Nagito and got information about the bomb's location. Then, after they killed him,
Well, I cut
Gotcha.
through those words. No, there's no doubt Nagito's mouth was covered with duct tape before he was beat up.
what did you say?
Who cares about the duct tape? We might as well settle this with rock, paper, scissors.
We don't need to play a game. It's clear the duct tape was on his mouth before the torture even began.
Why do you always side with Hajime? Do you have a crush on him or something?
Hell yeah, she does. Are you in elementary school or something?
You were with us when I peeled the duct tape off Nagito's mouth, right? The blood on Nagito's face wasn't under the duct tape, remember?
The blood on his face came from his arm wounds. Which means the duct tape was on his face before his arms were even wounded.
And the duct tape had a lot of crinkles around his mouth. He must have been struggling to open his mouth under the duct tape.
Perhaps the duct tape was used so he wouldn't be able to scream. Then it's like I said at the beginning. The tape wasn't for torture. It was to keep his mouth shut.
However, if they wanted to seal his mouth, they did not need to hurt him with such ferocity.
They probably had a deep grudge against Nagito.
Then, are you saying the killer was trying to make him suffer?
If so, it's friggin' crazy. Did they go psycho or something?
No, they didn't just go crazy. Whoever did this must be one crafty bastard. If not, they wouldn't have taken the time to set fire to the crime scene and destroy all the evidence.
The warehouse fire was for destroying evidence?
You can't think of any other reason.
But who could have done that? When the fire occurred, everyone in this room was gathered in front of the warehouse.
Yeah. And right after I opened the warehouse door, the flames started burning from the very back.
Which means, it is plausible to think that nobody here set the fire.
The killer isn't one of us. But that's not the case, huh? I mean, it's wishful thinking.
Even if it was only a coincidence, the timing was just too perfect.
Based on the pattern up until now, we should suspect that some kind of setup was used for this.
Some kind of setup? Like what?
I do not know that, but that has been the pattern before.
That's our Miss Sonia. You have such an amazingly high intellect. Alrighty then, let's think about this based on what Miss Sonia thinks. Is that okay, Miss Sonia?
Damn right it is!
The reason for the fire, huh? They're right, we need to clear that up first. Okay, here's to not struggling with that one, as much as I did the first one. Burned rope. It's gotta be the oil lighter.
The direct cause of the fire was the oil lighter found at the crime scene, right?
Yes.
The killer used some kind of setup. He lit the curtain on fire with the lighter.
Yeah.
Some kind of setup?
Did they use the oil as an improvised fuse?
Indeed. Just kidding.
Crap!
The direct cause of the fire was
The
Alright,
oil lighter found
The killer used some... He lit the curtain on fire.
some kind of setup?
Did they use the oil as an improvised fuse?
They probably just threw the lighter.
No.
based on the shape of that oil lighter. It can stand upright while the flame is lit.
Indeed.
If they tipped over the lighter in some way, it could have ignited the curtain.
Some way?
Maybe they used invisible thread.
No.
There should have been a way to tip it over with sound waves.
Or perhaps opening the door caused intense wind pressure to tip over the lighter.
Oh. Yo, I actually totally get it.
The direct cause of the fire
where
was
is it? Where's the bullet?
the
No.
oil lighter found at
Yes.
the crime scene.
The killer used some...
The
lit
panels
curtain
were
on
tipped
kind
over in
of
a
setup?
straight line to
Did
create
they
a
use the
domino
oil as an
effect to
improvised-
knock over the
Probably
lighter.
just threw the light.
Based on the shape of
That
it, it
is
can stand upright while the
ridiculous.
flame.
If they tipped over the lighter in some... It could have ignited the curtain.
Some way?
Okay.
Maybe they used invisible thread.
No.
the direct cause of the oil lighter found at...
The killer used some...
You know, my influence gauge is supposed to be recovering over
Did they use
time
the
right
oil
now.
as...
They probably just based on the shape of it. It can stand up
If they tipped over, it could have ignited...
some way.
Okay.
Maybe they used invisible thread.
There should have been a way to tip it over with sound waves.
Sound waves? No.
Or perhaps opening the door caused...
Yes.
I agree with that. I also agree that opening the door is what started the fire.
Just as I thought. It was the wind pressure. A dust devil blown here from glorious Japan!
No, not wind pressure. They probably used the Monokuma panels. A huge number of tipped-over Monokuma panels were found at the crime scene, right? It looked like they were scattered everywhere, but some were laying on top of each other in a single line. Just a single line leading from the warehouse door to the fire's origin.
Does that mean anything?
The killer probably arranged those Monokuma panels to create a domino effect.
A domino effect. You mean those tiles kids play with by lining them up and tipping them over?
In place of those tiles, the killer used the Monokuma panels. So when we opened the warehouse door, the first panel toppled into the second. And from there, they fell like dominoes until they reached the lighter at the end.
But wouldn't it be obvious that those big panels were falling over?
That's probably why they turned off the lights in the warehouse, so we wouldn't notice them.
So the reason the warehouse was dark was to hide the domino effect.
And one more thing. There was something else the killer did to hide the domino effect, right?
Killer did one other thing to hide the domino effect. Would that be the MP3 player?
I see! You're talking about the MP3 player, right? That hymn blaring throughout the warehouse masked the sound of the falling panels.
The inside of the warehouse felt even darker because their eyes were still used to the bright sunlight outside. Within that darkness, a loud hymnal blared throughout the warehouse at full volume. Hey, do you guys hear something? Yeah, it's really damn loud. Does Nagito like listening to this depressing crap? No, I'm not talking about the music. And as if on cue, it suddenly started.
That's it. So the strange sound was actually the sound of the panels falling.
But those sounds weren't the only strange thing, right? Looking back on it, it was also strange when we opened the door to the warehouse.
It's fine, I'll open it slowly. No, that's not the problem. Seriously, it'll be fine. With those words, Akane brushed off everyone's warnings and slowly opened the door to the warehouse. Huh? It's not opening? Is there something blocking the door? I can barely open it. Ah, I knew it, it's a trap. Seriously, just stop it, okay? Didn't I tell you it'll be fine? I just gotta use a little more force. What happened to opening it slowly? Akane ignored their protest and with a mighty kick, the door flew open.
Ah, so the door was being blocked by a Monokuma panel.
And when we opened the door, the domino effect started, and the falling panels eventually reached the lighter. Yeah, and that's how the warehouse caught on fire. At least, that's how it looks.
You don't look so sure.
At the time, Akane mentioned that she could barely open the door.
Because the panel was blocking it, right?
But the blocked doorway, there wasn't enough space for a person to fit through, right?
Is that a problem?
It's a major problem. I mean, that door was the only entrance to the warehouse.
If that door was the only entrance to the warehouse, I see, so the problem Chiaki's talking about is...
I see! If the panel was so close to the door that it could barely be opened, the killer inside the warehouse wouldn't be able to leave, right?
Now that you mention it.
Does that mean they were hiding inside?
Who? We were all outside the warehouse, you know.
Based on the patterns up until now, I believe some kind of setup was used. You don't have to think so hard. There's actually only one person who could have possibly done this.
Huh?
You don't mean...
But if that's true, this murder...
Hajime? What do you mean?
The person who set up the domino effect inside the warehouse. There's only one person who could have done that. Bum, 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 bum.
This is my answer! What if it was Nagito?
Why'd you bring him up? He's the victim, you know.
He wasn't just the victim. Maybe.
Huh?
Not just the victim? What does that mean?
He was the victim. And he was the perpetrator, too. Maybe.
Are you saying this was a suicide? Don't be stupid. His body was covered in torture wounds. Or did you already forget? Are you saying those were all self-inflicted?
But Nagito might do something like that, don't you think?
That's not the issue. He was tied up, remember? Even for a creep like Nagito, it'd be impossible for him to tie up his own arms and legs.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, as long as you understand.
It seems we need to discuss how Nagito was able to tie himself up.
Need to discuss? That's not necessary at all. No matter how much you think about it, it's clearly impossible.
Like he said, it seems impossible if you think about it, but I feel like I'm overlooking something. Could it be the burned rope?
To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free arm.
It'd be impossible if you were by yourself. Crap!
Try demonstrating it right
To
now!
actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with... It'd be impossible!
How about if you use your teeth?
No.
Or if you use your front tail?
What?
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke?
Ah!
To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free arm.
It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
Crap.
Crap! To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the
It'd be impossible if you were by yourself. Crap!
I mean, maybe that's not the one.
To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is what? Tying both arms would...
You couldn't do much with...
It'd be impossible!
How about if you use your teeth?
No.
Crap!
It's gonna be one of those. Do you think this is one of those, like, memorized one of them to refute the other one?
We will never give up!
Could be. Oh my god, the bar. Raise it a little faster, please.
To actually tie up your own arm... That's obvious!
Tying just the leg, tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free arm.
It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
How about if you use your
Oh,
teeth?
great
Or if you use
memorization
your
there.
front tail?
Dirty joke! That a dirty joke!
To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obvious!
Tying just the leg, tying both arms would be...
You couldn't do much with the free arm.
It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
How about if you use... Or if you use your...
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke?
Okay.
To actually tie up your own arms and legs.
Damn.
Crap! To To actually tie up your own arms and legs.
Alright, I'm just gonna start to throw everything at this first statement.
Crap! To actually tie up your own arms.
Aha!
No, that's wrong.
What? Isn't that what I did? Wasn't that the first thing I did? Or I used it to do
Hold
the
on a
other
sec.
one, I guess.
Isn't that premise flawed?
What? I mean, it's no mistake that his arms and legs were...
No, it shouldn't have been both of his arms. The rope on his right arm was completely burnt up. Based on that, you can't say he was tied up.
Oh, yeah.
That was just burned by the fire. He should have been tied up before then.
It burned because of the fire. Like you said, it might look like that. But that was part of the trap. There's concrete evidence that proves it.
The proof that burnt the rope on Nagito's right arm is a trap. Oh, that it is.
I see.
The sleeve was totally not
Take a close
flawed
look
at all.
at it. Even though the rope was burnt up, his sleeve wasn't burned at all. Wouldn't you agree? A burn like this, no matter how you think about it, is unnatural. That rope was burned in advance so it would look like it was burned in the fire.
Then Nagito's right arm wasn't tied up, right? He was able to move it freely, right?
Yeah, that should be the case.
Hajime, that's awesome! I'll let you cop a feel if you want.
Akane, you should not give it away for free. Make sure they pay you first.
That's definitely wrong.
Fine. I just gotta get a Benjamin from him before I let him touch me, right?
That's not what I meant. I'm talking about Nagito. I mean, even if his right hand wasn't tied up, the knife was still stabbed into it, you know?
It's impossible to stab a knife into your right hand with your right hand.
Ah, that much is obvious.
Hajime, you tricked me! Give me back that Benjamin!
Not only did she try to charge me, now she wants the money back. What the heck?
Hold on. There should be a way.
Then hurry up and spill it.
If it's something lame, I'll make you give back the Benjamin with 10,000% interest.
A way to stab yourself in your right hand using only your right hand. It's okay, there's definitely an answer for this. Burnt rope, survival knife, Monokuma plushie, blood on girder. Ah, this will come into play.
Even if Nagito's right hand was free, how could he stab his right hand with his right hand?
If he threw the knife into the air and let the knife fall,
Okay, just kidding.
It's wrong?
Even if Nagito's right hand was... How could he stab his...
if he threw the knife and let the knife fall, could he stab his hand that way?
Is he a throwing knife expert?
Maybe he propped the knife somehow?
Ah.
It's wrong?
Even if Nagito's right hand was... How could he stab his...
If he threw the knife and
It's
let the
gotta be
knife
blood on
fall,
the girder, though.
could he stab his hand? Is he a throwing knife? Maybe he propped the knife somehow and slammed his right hand down on it?
Propped it onto what?
If he just propped the knife, he could have used his bound left hand.
No.
Damn it!
Even if Nagito's... How could he stab his...
If he threw the knife and let the knife, could he stab his hand? Is he a throwing knife? Maybe he propped the knife and slammed his right hand down on it? Propped it on... If he just propped...
He could have used his bound left hand.
If you're tied up, your arms won't bend that easily. We don't know if his left hand could even reach his right hand. Even if Nagito's right hand was free, how could he stab his right hand with his right hand?
If he threw the knife into the air and let the knife fall, could he stab his way?
That's not what I meant to say.
Is he a throwing knife expert?
Maybe he propped the knife somehow?
No.
It's wrong?
Even if Nagito's right hand was free, how could he stab his right hand?
If he threw the knife into the... and let the knife fall, could he stab his hand out?
Is he a throwing knife expert?
Maybe he propped the knife somehow?
Yes.
I agree with that. The life-size Monokuma plushie. He must have used that to prop the knife.
Makes sense. That's why there was a big hole in the plushie's stomach. He inserted the knife handle into that hole to prop it up. Then he slammed his hand onto it. If that's it, he had to place the plushie near him. And it also explains the mysterious.
So the blood on the plushie came from Nagito after he stabbed the knife into his own right hand.
I see. So that's the trick.
But for a moment, I seriously thought Monokuma died or something.
A bleeding plushie is super scary. It's got the same fear factor as a doll whose hair grows too long.
After stabbing his hand, he no longer needed the plushie, so he cast it off toward the fire's origin point.
He probably thought the fire would incinerate it and destroy the evidence.
So what do you think now, Fuyuhiko?
I get what you're saying about the wound on his right hand, but there's still one huge problem. The spear. Basically, you're saying Nagito committed suicide by impaling himself with a spear, right?
That's where the blood on the girder is gonna come
If
from.
you think about the order, getting killed by the spear should have been the last thing to happen to Nagito. If that's true, how is that possible? He can't grab a spear with his right hand if a knife is stabbed into it and his left hand was all tied up.
Then, he probably took the spear first, and as he endured the pain, he stabbed the knife into his right hand.
There is a limit to his constitution. If you got penetrated by something so big and thick, you would die instantly.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch all that.
Like I said, if you got penetrated by something so big and thick, you would die instantly.
Say it one more time. I need you recorded. For reasons.
Hey, bastard, you better cut it out!
Like she said, in that condition, it's very difficult to stab yourself with a spear. It'd be hard to use a spear with a knife stabbed into your right hand while your left hand is tied up.
So you're saying it's impossible?
But no matter what I think, I can't believe Nagito's death was caused by someone else.
I also agree with that. To think that one of us could kill someone with such cruelty, I could never believe that.
You say you can't believe it? You just don't want to believe it, right? But that's why you keep getting betrayed over and over again, right? Same goes for this time, too.
You just shut your mouth. It's against the rules to interfere with everyone. If you even think about doing anything, I have a plan of my own.
Monokuma sassing me!
But it's just as Monokuma said. We've been betrayed over and over again so far. So this might also be the same. Calling this a suicide takes too much for granted, and it's too convenient.
Then are you saying there is a killer among us, Kazuichi?
Of course that doesn't include Miss Sonia and me.
As Kazuichi said, it's true we've been constantly betrayed. But even if I'm betrayed again, I still want to believe in everyone. No matter how many times I may be betrayed, I still want to believe in everyone.
I also want to believe that there's no killer, but suicide is unimaginable.
Do you really think so?
But you said it too. It'd be impossible for him to stab himself with a spear in his condition.
I did say difficult, but I never said impossible.
Huh?
I feel that there's some way he could have stabbed himself with that spear.
What kind of way?
I don't know.
You don't know.
It's impossible to figure out by myself. So let's think about it together. That's how we made it this far up till now.
Everyone, working together.
She's right. We've made it through several ordeals up till now by doing that. And even now...
Let's do this.
Blood on the girder. There's no blood on the girder.
How did Nagito stab himself with a spear? Let's work together and think this through.
When the spear stabbed Nagito, his right hand was covered by the knife, right?
He was only able to move his left hand.
But his left hand was also tied up.
Then that rules out his left hand.
No, it doesn't.
No, that's wrong! hold on. It's still too early to dismiss the possibility that he used his left hand.
Why? I mean, his left hand was tied up, you know?
But there was something off about his left hand. The bloodstain on the palm of his hand. Don't you think it looked somewhat strange? He only had blood on the lower area of his palm. Beyond that point, the bloodstain suddenly cuts off, right?
When the blood splattered, that's as far as it reached, right?
That settles the description of that bloodstain, but it's not the only unnatural bloodstain. Look, there's blood on the back of his hand, around the middle joints of his fingers.
Like you said, it looks like an unnatural bloodstain, but what's wrong with that?
We might need to think and use our imaginations for a bit. If there's blood on his palm and the back of his hand, what was his left hand doing as the blood splattered?
What was Nagito's left hand doing?
I see! When the blood splattered, he was probably gripping with his left hand. That's why there's such a strange-looking bloodstain on his palm and the back of his hand.
Was he grabbing his front tail?
Perish the thought! He was obviously grabbing the spear!
Now that you mention it, compared to the rest of his body, the wounds on his left arm are pretty mild. He probably made his wounds mild on purpose, so he could keep his strength while he gripped the spear.
But even if he held the spear with his tied-up left hand, it'd be impossible for him to stab himself.
That's right, that's the problem.
Hey, Chiaki, what do you think? Hey, don't tell me you're getting sleepy.
At times like this, you should always strike from a good angle. Just like fixing an old TV.
Oh, I got it. Maybe.
Huh? Really?
Yeah, like I thought. It's no mistake that Nagito was gripping the spear, I think. However, what's important is what section of the spear he was gripping.
Which section of the spear was he holding on to? The cord.
I see! That's it. Instead of the handle, Nagito must have been holding on to the cord. There was a metal weight at the tip of the cord, but there were bloodstains on that part too. Plus, the joint between the weight and the cord had a bloodstain shaped like it was cut off by something.
Isn't the size of that cut-off section about the same size as a human fist?
Ah, you're right. So this is the part Nagito was gripping, huh? And then the blood that was supposed to end up here ended up getting on Nagito's left hand.
But why is it so important to know which part of the spear he was gripping?
You're not gonna say he gripped the tip of the cord, swung the spear around, and stabbed himself, right?
That is where the clue to solve this mystery resides. Right, Chiaki? I am sorry. Of course this mystery will not be solved that easily.
Nagito was gripping the cord extending from the butt of the spear with his left hand. But from there, how would he stab himself in the stomach with the spear?
It seems we are stuck. Shall we have tea time?
At a time like this, how about we stick to the plan to think one step at a time instead of expecting the answers all at once?
That's a long plan name.
One step at a time? What does that mean?
Let's focus on the spear first. Namely, where it was and how it was positioned just before it impaled Nagito.
How it was positioned.
Nagito was facing up and the spear was stabbed through his stomach. So if it's just before that... That's it. Could it be? The state of the spear and the fact that Nagito was holding the tip of the cord attachment. If I put those together and think about it, I should be able to figure out where the spear was and what state it was in before it stabbed Nagito. It was hung, suspended over the girder. You don't need to logic dive. Whatever. Oh man, I'm so good at going through archways. Although they're starting to like pop up directly in front of my life, so I'd prefer you didn't do that. Oh my god. Where was the spiel? It was the spiel. It was above Nagito. A damn. Oh my god, we have moving things now. This is unacceptable. Question 2. Besides the spear, what else was above Nagito? A ceiling girder. Very good. And what is question 3? We're having it right now. What item connects both the spear's cord? Clearly, yes. Ah, jolly good, I am so well done here.
It's all coming together! The spear impaled Nagito as he was laying face up. It must have been perpendicular to him just for that.
Perpendicular? In the middle of the air?
If Nagito did that all by himself, did he have some sort of ESP?
That'd be awesome, but he probably used the ceiling girder directly above him.
Nagito probably slung the cord over the ceiling girder, and using that as a support, he hoisted the spear directly above him. And if Nagito let go of the cord, the spear would have fallen and impaled him while he was laying face up.
I noticed a slight red streak on the ceiling girder. It probably got smeared there during the setup.
The blood on the cord probably rubbed off on the ceiling girder as the spear was falling. So, how about it? Using this method, Nagito could have impaled himself with the spear.
Are you serious? He really committed suicide? Like that?
He probably chose that spear so he could commit suicide like that. If someone else did this, there's no reason they'd go to all this trouble just to kill someone with a spear.
I agree. When I was investigating this case, I kept thinking over and over how strange it was. Why did the killer use the knife and the spear so differently?
So you're saying he needed to use that spear to pull off his trick?
Then, this is for real? He really committed suicide? Every single wound on his body. That was all him?
Not just that, he did all that while he was gripping the spear? That spear should not have stabbed Nagito until the very end. Which means Nagito wounded himself while he was gripping that spear, right?
Did he put the duct tape on his mouth too?
He probably covered his own mouth so we wouldn't hear him screaming in pain.
Did he need to go that far? That's beyond crazy! Why would he do that to himself?
He was probably trying to get us to make a mistake. By committing a suicide that looked like a murder, he was trying to steer us toward the wrong answer. His goal was to get us all executed.
And that's why he stabbed himself over and over again?
Did he want us to die that bad?
That's messed up. That's seriously so messed up.
Yeah, that's our Nagito.
Jeez, and I was starting to feel a little sympathetic toward him. How stupid of me. I completely underestimated his capacity for malice. A mind-boggling malice that threatens us even after he's died. That's the form his malice took. I had forgotten all about it until now. If he was here now, he'd probably be sneering at me.
However, there is one thing I still do not understand. He said he would reveal the traitor, right?
Alright, that's gonna do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe and whatnot.